The atomic tests undertaken at Maralinga raised many ethical and moral issues. These issues include purposely withholding information, dehumanisation, and the use of and exposure to harmful radioactive materials. Many members of Australian society, inclusive of Indigenous Australians, were not informed about atomic testing conducted at Maralinga. The government placed restrictions through the Secrecy Act on those involved with the tests. Restrictions were also placed on members of the press who endeavoured to report what was happening at the time. It is imperative that people be aware of what is happening around them, especially under dangerous circumstances, as exemplified by the presence of Indigenous Australians on testing sites soon after tests had been conducted. Suppressing such information only welcomes more incidents and does not allow members of the Australian public to develop trust in the government. Indigenous Australians were not treated with any respect when the atomic tests began in Australia. The governments at the time showed little concern for the cultural values of Indigenous people and did not bother to consult with the Anangu people before the tests began. Evidence including hospital records have gone missing. These prevented those who were affected by the tests from receiving compensation for what they had suffered. The fact that people affected were not compensated for their suffering until years later is utterly appalling, and by not recognising Indigenous Australians, the government has essentially taken away their voice and their rights as human beings. The presence of plutonium and other dangerous substances have major health effects, and that not only affect those directly involved at the time, but those in later generations. Some of the devastating effects that can be caused by exposure to radiation include cancer, birth defects, and even death. Although the sites were marked as safe, those who went back to their homes still became ill, indicating that these sites were hazardous and people should not have been allowed near them. Indigenous Australians at Maralinga were essentially deprived of the long and healthy life that every human being deserves. In summary, the tests conducted at Maralinga raised many ethical and moral issues. These issues bring into question the need for testing dangerous weapons, especially near civilians, and whether doing so is really worth it.